What's going on, PGM fam? Welcome back to another episode with the Power of Growth Mindset. Today is Monday. What is going on, man? Happy Monday. How you doing? How's the week starting off for you?
Hey, I woke up and chose violence this morning.
Hey
Yeah,
man,
it definitely woke up and chose violence this morning.
talk to us, man. What you mean chose violence?
Hey
Everything good on
man,
your part?
what? First of all, I woke up and didn't want to be bothered. And so, the older you get, it's very important to be able to get the amount of sleep that you need because if you don't get the amount or the necessary amount of sleep that you need,
Hmm.
you ain't gonna be productive or helpful or anything useful to anyone, even
No.
yourself. And so, you know, work is work, right? You got the highs, the lows, and then you got the joys of the moments. But then it's just like, but it's certain days of the week. And for me, it's Monday. I don't know what it is. I can get 12 hours of sleep. I can have a good breakfast. And I just don't like Mondays. I don't. And I'm sure the philosophical people will come in the comments like, yeah, but it's all about a growth mindset. It absolutely is. But let me tell you something. Monday, it be choosing violence, and some of the things that I encountered today wasn't necessary. But you know what? I'm here. I'm happy. I'm blessed, and that's what really matters. But in full transparency, Monday was ghetto. It was really ghetto.
Hey, I appreciate the
It
authenticity
was it was
because
ghetto.
because
Ghetto as F.
man, but I feel like as I reflect on the year, I feel like I feel like there's been a lot of highs and lows, but I feel like the last few weeks have just been nothing but like
Slaps
just a
slaps in the
beating.
face.
Like
Yeah.
waking up on
A two
Monday,
piece.
getting no biscuit, no
Nah,
water,
you got that
just
Popeyes biscuit.
no, hey, no water to go with it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the last few weeks have just been nothing but just like it's been a grind, but it's also just like when your alarm goes off and you just kind of wake up and you just sit there for a second, just eyes wide open, and you just looking up at the ceiling and you're like, here we go again. It's like that GTA meme where he's like, oh man, here we go again. Like that's how I feel like life is
Bro, that's
now.
growth because I don't wake up. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. I'm like, because I have like how many alarms? So I try to get up because I live like 5 minutes from my job, so I
Okay.
can, make some things shake within a small amount of time. But I usually try to get up at least like 5:30 so I can mentally prepare to be in a position to help other people. And so,
Mm.
my alarms start going off at 5. And so if I got that 5 o'clock warning, and then I got that 5:05 warning, then I got that 5:10 warning, then I got that 5:15, and then I got a big gap between 5:15 and 5:30.
That's sick.
And so, this morning I ain't get up until like 6:40. And bro, I it just felt so good to just be laying there. And so I told one of my colleagues, I said, you know what? I don't see myself working until I'm 50, 60, 70. And so like that social security check they tomorrow I may not get until I'm 80. You ain't gotta worry about that because I'm gonna make enough money where I ain't got to work no more. I
Amen to
promise you,
that.
man, because I just want design to work on the clock, man. Like
Hmm.
wake and I remember, like back in college going out and just being able to wake up early in the
Hmm.
man, let me tell you something. My body say you thought.
I'm telling you. I'm
You
telling.
thought.
Yeah, but I feel like in college it was easier just because it was just like you and a I felt like it was easier in college because it was just one of those things where it's like, all right, I got 8:30 class. Like I know I got to do this Monday, Wednesday. But then like now
Oh, so you was one of them.
I was one of them. I was
Oh,
definitely one of
you was
them.
a good boy.
I
Yes, I
was I was
can't
good
relate.
until I was good, but
Nah.
like after a while that wears on you. So it is what it is, man.
But I mean, and don't get me wrong, and there's nothing wrong with waking up early.
Mhm,
I actually encourage it because it helps you to get a head start at your day. And for
mhm,
me, I'm most productive early in the morning versus late in the afternoons because that's when I want to wind down.
mhm,
My body shifts with the atmosphere. I just want to, just chill. And so
mhm.
being able to wake up that early and do what I got to do, meditate and
Yeah,
pray and try to my best to eat breakfast and so forth. So there's nothing wrong with it, but it was just something about Mondays. It just had me in a chokehold. And
I hear you.
for the people, the philosophical police officers that's out there in the streets, I'm sure you could throw something in the comments or in my DMs and say, well, you need to try this. I'm a licensed therapist. I understand what I need to try. However, I enjoy what I do now. Thank you so much.
End of story. End of story. End of story. But I was
So,
actually gonna go ahead, man.
nah. Go ahead.
I was gonna harp on that because I was just thinking through that, especially like with our audience. But like, I know I purposely try to make an effort to get up, and again, purposefully, because there are days where I do like to sleep in a little bit. But kind of what you were saying around like you have the intention of getting up at 5. For me, it's 5 or 6. It just depends on
Mhm.
the day. But I'm like you where I have to start the day off. I like to there are days where I have to wake up in a panic and I may start something early at work or whatnot, but I really like to start my day off with gratitude. I wonder if that's something that you kind of do, because I know you had mentioned that, you start your day off with having to give back to people. And I know that that's something that can drain a lot of folks. So I wonder as you kind of structure your morning, is that kind of how you started off? Because I know you kind of hit it on like meditation. You also do, you may read, you may do breakfast. So I'm curious for folks who are trying to get into a routine, like what does that look like for you, especially with what you do?
Yeah, man. So, for me, it's growth.
Hmm.
Um, I used to be a person that would sleep till I can't sleep no more. And
Hmm.
then I have to rush to get dressed so I can be to work on time. But now I'm an individual where I can no longer do that. I gotta pace myself and I gotta be able to just be able to flow with where my feet are currently planted.
Hmm.
And and it means that I gotta be intentional about that. And so for me, when I first wake up, I try my best now to not sleep with my phone.
Hmm.
I have all those alarms on, but I sleep with my phone on the opposite nightstand of where I sleep. And so I try my best to make sure that whenever I get up in the morning, that's not the first thing that I turn to. And so I wake up and I just lay in the bed for a bit and, I give my gratitude. I give my thanks to the big homie upstairs. And, I meditate there. And some people think meditating is like getting on your knees and praying. You have to get on your knees. That's definitely not my first go to. But
Hmm.
whatever works for you, right?
Yeah.
But I give my thanks because as I oftentimes reflect, being able to leave home, drive on the same highway as somebody who you don't even know could be possibly drunk
Hmm.
or maybe even having thoughts of self-harm, you riding next to them, but you actually are able to make it work. You make it back home safe is an underrated blessing for me. And so just being able to wake up and say, God, I thank you, that is something that I am very intentional about.
Hmm.
And that is something that I have been more, I would say, obedient about because sometimes I say, God, I thank you, but now I list what I'm thankful for.
Sure.
And so that I can continue to name those things. So when people say, "What are you grateful for?" So I'm able to clearly articulate what I'm grateful for. I'm clearly able to just say, "These are the things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for these reasons," and not because I practice that, but it's because I know deep down in my core that's what I'm truly grateful for. And so for me, it's always about giving back. And even don't get me wrong, I am human. Sometimes I do oversleep and sometimes, my schedule is altered.
Yep.
But at the same time, for me, I still try my best before I get too caught up in my day to give my gratitude and just announce what I know is going to happen. Just vocalize those aspirations and
Mhm.
those words of affirmations so that I can hear it. I can constantly say it because in the position that I'm currently in, where I have to give back to other people, I have to do the work for myself first daily
For sure.
so that I'm able to show up where I need to. And some days you do fall short, and some days, like today, it just ain't the day. I can't uplift you today. I need for you to be what you need for yourself, but I cannot be
Mhm.
that for you today. And I think you have to come to a position in life where that is okay. That it's okay to communicate that I can't be what you need me to be today.
Yeah.
And sometimes for so many people, you may need to take that day off, or you may need to reevaluate how you're going to show up. What are some of your priorities for the day? What are some of the things that you're focusing on? Because Mike, Pastor Mike, he was preaching, Mike McClare Jr., not the other one, but he was preaching, no shade, but he was preaching about something the other day. And sometimes we say, God, take this away from me, but he constantly make ways to take it away from us, but we
Mhm.
find a way to go back to it.
Mhm.
And instead just pray and say, God, build my mind, so and my the wisdom that I need to be able to walk away and give this to you so that I'm able to know why this is not good for my life. And so
Mhm.
just changing the way you think, you process information, and you receive information, that's also been critical and helpful.
I kind of want to stay on that for a second because much to what you talked about, I heard that in another sermon while I was running 2 weeks ago. And they were harping on the idea of how we as people, we want, and actually goes back to what Dr. M was talking about, how like you pray, your prayers are not as much like take this away from me, but pray that I
Hmm.
can sustain the storm. And it was kind of the same message that was in the sermon where like as people, we want the hard times to go away, or we pray for God for an answer.
Hmm.
But at the same time, sometimes He's going to make it so uncomfortable for you
Hey, come on, somebody.
to where you are either going to A, make the choice to
Hmm.
move, or like on your own will, or B, he gonna do something so crazy that like it's out of your control and it's putting you back on that path that you're supposed to be on.
And
And
and I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
what's also amazing
Hmm.
about that is even when he do that, he
Hmm.
still covers and protect you
It's crazy.
from harm and danger.
Hmm.
Now, some things just gonna come, and you
Hmm.
you can't go around it. You can't go under it. You got to go through it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I am a living testimony as it relates to that. Some things he will literally do what you just said,
Hmm.
but protect you throughout the whole entire process. And you look back like, bro, I should have been in jail. I should have been this. I should have been. I'm serious. Like, bro,
You're right. You're right.
like, sometimes you continue to beat your head against the wall, and then you don't realize how much, like,
Hmm.
yo, wake up. It's time to wake up. And so, yo, that's real.
Man, I received that because going back to what you started with this conversation, today has been Monday, and it's just one of those things where, and I'll kind of wrap on this where it's like there is, and we talk about this often, but like brighter days come.
Mm,
They like, and it can be very hard, especially as you're kind of going through it in the moment.
mhm, mhm,
But at the same time, and you've gone through it, you've experienced it.
mhm,
We all have our own personal traumas and things that we're going through, but at the
mhm,
end of the day, there is some light, there's some silver lining at the end of the tunnel. And so,
mhm, mhm.
and I try to keep that as a perspective. And I know you kind of touched on that, but like when it comes to the gratitude, when it comes to showing up where you need to show up, like not every day is going to be perfect, but we're going to get through it.
Absolutely, man. It's to the point where, you know, certain things, hmm, certain things that you it's long story short, because the thought came to me, but then it kind of left. But certain things that, we ask for,
Hmm.
and then there's certain things we know we need.
Hmm.
And this is a season that I just went through. But who are you? Yes, it's coming back to me. So there's certain things that you ask for, and there's certain things that you need. But it's not about success, is not when you have accomplished that goal.
Hmm.
Success is what you have learned in that process,
Hmm.
and what you are committing to, what you have learned, what you are growing from, or what you have allowed to be released. And for me, that is something that I've learned within the last year, the last 2 years. So there was a huge transformation on my
Hmm.
with my belief systems. But for me, that is something that I captured, is that when we were Americanized, we are taught to believe success is when you reach this goal. That's what success looked like, but not
Hmm.
necessarily. Success is when you are trying your best to relinquish a certain, maybe jealousy or whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
And when you are in that process of trying to let that go, success is not when you've completed it, it's what you have obtained in that process. And that is something that, I hope somebody take that away from today's message, our conversation, because sometimes we were taught some of the wrong things by the right people. But
Hmm.
at the same time, it's just like you have to kind of define what that looks like for your understanding, your comprehension levels.
Hmm.
But at the same time, just be able to be receptive to a different perspective. And so, but yeah, to what you said, man. Just,
Man, I feel like we could just like stay on this because like I have so many things that I want to follow up on and say.
hey, don't be scared, man.
I would say like as you were kind of talking through your change and
Hmm.
like your 2 years, like how how frustrating
Mm,
and I only say that because I feel like what you're talking about is what I'm going through right now, where like when you're going through the process and you're asking yourself the question, like really asking yourself the hard question.
hmm.
And it's frustrating because it's like whether it's you, whether it is the people around you, whether it is the current situation, like it is something has to give. Like when you think about your process, like it's like future you can't be current you and current you can't be doing past you. So like as you go through that
Why,
process,
why not?
because you can't here's the way I feel about it. Everybody
Hey,
go
hey, don't freeze up, man. Nah,
no no
I
no
was
no
just throwing you
no
off your feet,
no no
because
no
you always got
here's
that one person like, man, but I can though. But
but
carry on.
like but like here's what I'll say. And whether you look at it from I'll take it from the spiritual view because that's how I like to base my life, but
Hmm.
other people can look at it from a different sense. If you are intended to receive a gift or you are intended to have something in your life that is going to change, make an impact, or totally shift the direction that you want to go, because at the end of the day, we as human, we're selfish and
Hmm.
we believe that this is what is intended for us.
Hmm.
But we all know we are one day, one moment away for that thing to be totally shifted, right?
Absolutely.
And so the way I feel about the situation is is yes, you can be agile, yes, you can be prepared, yes, you think you can go one way, but at the same time, if you're being called in another route, if you're being called to something bigger or something greater, um your beliefs, the things that you do, the things that you're currently involved in can change. And
Mm-hmm.
whether that is the environment that you're in, maybe you're called to be picked up and moved to another side of the country. Maybe
Absolutely.
you're being called to remove, kind of as you had talked about fasting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some things have to be taken and removed out of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
so the thing is, with that, are you as an individual prepared to receive that blessing? And if you're not, and it goes back to what we talked about earlier, sometimes big homie upstairs is going to make it very difficult or very hard to where either you move or he's going to do it yourself. So
Mm.
that's going back to what you were talking about around like, whether it's past, present, or future you, like for me, as I look at the situation with growth, you can't say that you've changed or gotten better if you haven't experienced any pain or change within where you currently are to where you need to be. Like it's never going to be linear. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, you're going to have moments where you're happy, you're going to have moments where you cry, you're going to have moments where you're even. And
Depending on
like
the season, yeah.
depending on the season, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the beauty in that,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the beauty in the story and the perspective. And like I would hope 29-year-old me is not like 40-year-old me. I would hope that 29-year-old me isn't how I was acting when I was 20 and so forth. Like if you look at past, present, and future, like there have been different milestones, there have been different checkpoints. There were, shoot, I thought I was going to go to law school. Didn't end up in law school. I took a different path because I felt like I was called to something else and it's put me and exposed me to different things.
Mm-hmm.
So this full circle, I know I've been kind of rambling, but going back to what I was posing the question of like how frustrating it is, because I know that there are a lot of people, including myself right now, where I'm in this season where I'm asking myself the hard questions. I'm asking myself the tough conversations. I'm seeking feedback to the appropriate people, aka my board of directors, the people that I like to consult.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, it's frustrating because we all want what's now. Like we want an answer now. But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I also know that this change that I'm going through, these moments that I'm asking these questions are setting me up for the next year to 5 years to 10 years. And we'll just wait and see how things kind of shape.
Mm. Ooh, ah, man. Oh, man. So much you said. One thing that I took away from that is a saying that I like to say is prepare yourself what you've been praying for.
Hmm.
And because sometimes those opportunities will come, but you don't know when they're going to come. And so
Right.
when they come, are you going to be able to sustain what you have been praying for?
Hmm.
Or it's like kind of it goes to what are you doing in that waiting process?
Yeah.
How are you respecting the waiting process? And for me, you know, uh, we talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
I had to transform what hate looks like for me. It was a period in time where I used to say, and I'm going to say it because I'm at a position in my life where I can own it, but
Yeah.
also it's not who I am now. It's
Hmm.
growth, right? And it's the power of a growth mindset. But I used to say constantly, I hate my job. And
Hmm.
it was for many factors. And I love kids, I love helping people, I love, my colleagues and some of the relationships that we have. But it was a point where I was getting to a place where I was becoming burnt out.
Hmm.
And because I was burnt out, I would just go with emotions. And I really could give two rats
Hmm.
about certain things. And for other people that would be like a ticking bomb. But for me, hey, it is what it is. And so,
Yeah.
I was just like, and I just kept saying, I hate this place. I hate this. I hate this. And so, big homie upstairs, like, until you embrace what you hate, you
Hmm.
ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
You ain't going nowhere. And I oftentimes say, he has a very unique sense of humor to the point where not too many people can capture my attention like he can. And
Hmm.
so with that being said, I had to embrace what I hated about my job. And then
Hmm.
once I learned to embrace that and actually dissect it and understand it, I was able to, move forward. And I can literally count on my hand the number of times I've said I hate my job because
Hmm.
I'm at a place now where I refuse to allow this to bother me.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, now one thing I've learned, you will know when it's time to move. And
Oh, you'll know. Trust. You'll know.
you'll know when it's time to move, and you'll know when that season has expired
Hmm.
because it's going to be clear as day. And we'll talk about that later. But you will know when your season for the chapter, your journey for the season that you're currently in, when it's time for you to move to the next thing in life. You'll
Hmm.
know because it'll be so clear as day. But it's certain things that you have to go through in order to be able to sustain where you are going. And you
Yeah.
may not understand it now, but you will understand and respect the process at the end
Mm.
because it will help you in the long run.
Mm. Come on now, man. You out here dropping. Hey, man, I'm over here. I'm like taking mental notes. Like that needs to be on a wall somewhere because I feel like I think a lot of people kind of experience that day to day, but
Hmm.
it's the act of surrendering, right?
Hmm.
The belief that sometimes the cloudy day, the tough moment, like we're meant to go through that. And sometimes it's just accepting is kind of the first step. And then after that act, everything else kind of it has a weird way of falling in place, which is bizarre, but it's how it
Absolutely.
works.
And just because and check this out, just because you go through that process and you're positioning yourself to respect the process or more so embrace it,
Mhm.
doesn't mean it's going to work out.
No.
It doesn't, and I think people think it goes back to like, well, I'm showing up, I'm intentional, I'm doing this. Consistency is key
Yeah. And
because
so consistency and knowing when it's time to roll. And you'll know.
right. But before you get to that point, because sometimes we're in a world where we live in a world where instant gratification is important to many of us. Not all
Mhm.
of us, but to many of us. And because instant gratification is important to many of us believe that because, I I was drinking water for like 5 days straight, or I've been eating salads and I've been eating good. I'm gonna lose weight in like this week. Nah, that's not how that works. And
Yeah.
so it's just like with other things, just because you have been respecting the process, just because you have been showing up, being consistent, doesn't mean it's going to come right when you expect it. And
Hmm.
that is the key thing to understand that everybody in this world is on a different type of journey. I don't care what your religious beliefs are, political, whatever the case may be, we're all on a different journey. And in that journey, well, on that journey, it's going to be completely different. And so you may see somebody in a season
Hmm.
that they are in a season of harvesting where they have to, put in that work. They have to do X, Y, Z to get to the next stage. And then you have some people that is in a position where they can literally be like they got blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings coming. And I just want to encourage somebody that, so be it.
Hmm.
Congratulate them because you don't know what they had to go through to get to that season that they're currently in. And we are all on a different race, but at
Yep.
the end of the day, are you willing to prepare yourself for what you're praying for?
Mm. Woo! Hey man, I think that's the mic drop, dog. I don't have I'm just saying, like, man,
Yeah,
it's like there's I know we had planned on going through some things, but like, man, I'll say it like this, bro. I appreciated the conversation because um I would say a lot of the words that you talked through today are things that, I know we're both kind of going through and experiencing.
hmm,
Um, but I know a lot of people are going through something right now.
absolutely, absolutely.
And I really want, for the folks who are gonna tune into this, like whatever you going through right now, y'all, like it could be work, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be, you trying to figure out the next step in
It
your
could be
career.
yourself.
It could be yourself.
It could free yourself from yourself.
Like there's no easy and you talked about it, you framed it so beautifully earlier in this show, but like you can try and get around it, you can try and get around it, you can try to go under it, but sometimes you just got to go through it. And that's a fact. That's whatever situation you're in, and there's no guarantee that the other side there's going to be a reward, but the process, the steps that you took, like those are the things that you're going to take away from all of that. And you learn to, you pivot, you grow, you learn, you get better the next time. You re-engage, you re-attack, you find another strategy. Like there's all these different ways that you can do it. But I would say, you know, you're a testament to this, Mike, but like it took you 2 years, like, and you're still a work in progress. Like you still going through
Absolutely.
it, but like
Absolutely.
2 years is what it took. So I don't want people to leave this episode thinking like, oh, it's going to be overnight success. And maybe it is for you. Like if it is, fantastic. But great things take time. And you just got to be willing to not only put in the work, but you know, whether you're spiritual, whether you're not spiritual, but just know like brighter days are going to come.
And you know that is so that's true.
Hmm.
But I also want to add challenging days going to come as well.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think I'm a realist to a certain extent. And I don't want nobody to take away from our message today that, you know, you're just gonna go through it and then there's gonna be a day of just great rewards.
Hmm.
Malarkey. So, but that's not the case. And so I just want to, you and I and many other people on our platform, when I look at the growth that we have accomplished on PGM and where we started with, I think our first episode was with Autumn
Hmm.
and where she is currently today.
Oh
And
yeah.
then not comparing us to her, but where we are currently today with the platform and our subscribers, you know, it was not easy.
Mm-mm.
And then some days we thought we were going up, and then whoop,
Yep.
it right back down. So, you know, there's going to be some good days, and there's going to be some challenging days, but there's going to be some days where you're going to have to pick and choose your battles
Hmm.
because some things you're just not going to be able to control. And understanding just because you can't control it doesn't mean you have to hate it. You
Yep.
just have to find a way to get through it.
Mm. Come on, man. You got two mic drop moments. Come
Man,
on,
get out of
dog.
here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm gonna send the collection plate around. You know,
Hey,
y'all can
man.
if you would like to be a blessing to my ministry, go ahead and cash at me and Apple Pay me. And you know, God is good all the time, all the time. God is good. Amen.
God is good. Amen. But nah, man, I would say let's close it up, man. Like, you want to bring us home?
Hey man, I'll let you do that, bro.
All right, man. I'll bring us home.
Yeah, I'll let you do that. I feel like I've been talking the whole episode, and you know, I think it's a great opportunity to, when you're in a business partnership, that you share the love and share the wealth
I
because it's
appreciate
not
it.
about one person's success; it's about the business as a whole. So, you bring us home, man, and you let the world know whatever you want them to know.
Man, I'll there's so much that we could talk about from this episode, but first off, going back to what you're saying, we a team. So above all things, like this platform and the audience that we're reaching and the people that we're impacting, like it's a team effort. It's not just you and I putting in the time, but it's also the folks who are involved. It's the folks that we bring onto the show. It's the people that
Mhm.
interact with us in the comments. Like it is a team effort. And so with that, as we kind of close, I know we touched on a number of different things today, but the thing that I want to drive home to everyone is however you're whatever you're going through day to day. I know we've talked a lot about processes and staying the course and the brighter days and the challenging days, but what I want to leave people with is it's all part of the journey. And wherever you're at in your journey, wherever you're at in this process, you're gonna look back at it. It may be months, it may be days, it may be years. And you're going to say, hey, there were some good moments, there were some bad moments, but wherever I was at, I got through it.
Mhm.
And I think that is one of the biggest blessings. That is one of the biggest success stories. That is like that's you. That is your story.
Hmm.
And your story is unique. Your story is special. You're special. And as we always say here, man, it is literally the powerful growth mindset, and it all starts with you.